Well, a full year has passed, and let me take a look at some movies. Oh yeah, most movies weren't released around 2020 in theaters until mid-August. So let me go back to January. January. Oh, that one. Okay, so The Grudge is a horror movie that was based on a horror film from the foreign countries of Japan, and they call it Junon the Grudge. Now, I never heard about that, but though I did hear about The Ring, American remake, and then that was based on Ring Goo. So I didn't really know about The Grudge. I only know about The Ring. I did see Grudge posters and DVDs all throughout theaters and the long-forgotten Blockbuster. After a young household wife murders her family in her own house, a single mother and a detective tries to navigate it and solve the case. Here she discovers that the house is cursed by a vengeful ghost that dooms those who enter. Now she has to save her son and herself from the demon spirit that has cursed this house from the neighborhood. Kind of sounds basic enough for your supernatural horror film about a monster or a killer, but this is just a ghost with long hair and looks like a girl and it's wearing white. I don't know. I've already seen The Ring so many times. They look like the same creature. The main actress, she does okay, I guess. I don't know any of these actors in this movie. I only know John Chow, so that was at least fun to watch. It's so boring. It's ungodly boring that I almost fell asleep. And I rarely do that. Except when it's the boring story and it's not executed well, it's just slow burn, but it's not entirely slow burn, it just has to pick itself up. Those kinds of stories, they don't really do that much in most movies. It's kind of been formulaic, it just doesn't have that much scare factor. There's not that much scares that I recall. I think there was one scare that was kind of scary, and that's just having hair grow out of the drain. I don't know, that's just my nightmare. I really don't want to go on about how the original was better, but I don't really know about the original. I gotta watch the original before the remake of 2004. Right, for as far as I'm concerned with this Grudge monster, it's not my thing, but I do like the noise it makes. That noise. That's the noise that it makes. That's the one element that I find scary out of that ghost. But aside from that, I don't really want to remember this movie. I don't really like to see that many bad horror movies out there. And that's a theme in January. They always release bad movies to theaters to make somewhat of a profit. And I think that, and it's mostly that all the movies that they want to release for that genre just go to summer or to September or October, because that's usually the time period where they make the most money, because, you know, it's Halloween. But, I mean, I do love Sam Raimi. He's one of my favorite guys in the horror genre. But to have him do just one remake of a foreign film and then reboot it, it just doesn't add to his style. He doesn't really do anything with this. It's not really creative. It's like Steven Spielberg if he did one other horror movie. He doesn't really do sequels. He doesn't really do remakes. He can do a sequel, but he rarely does a remake. He rarely does those. Although he is doing the West Side Story remake. And that was going to come out in 2020, and I'm still excited for that. The Grudge gets 1.5 stars. I'm definitely putting this on my worst films of 2020. It's not going to be a top 10. There's really not that much films that I don't think it's that bad. I think there's some that are mediocre, and there's some are guilty pleasures. So that's just all I got to say about Grudge. If you want to see it, go ahead. If you like the horror genre, go ahead. If you think this looks bad, don't check it out. Well, I didn't catch the coronavirus. Might as well call him a plumber. Let me just pick out the figures I want to use for a video this week. And what? Someone at the door? Oh no. Not you.